This lesson is on division with two-digit divisors. The steps of division are the same as they've been before. We estimate, we multiply, we subtract, we compare, and we bring down. The difference is, because we have two digits in the divisor, we start by dividing the first two digits in the dividend. So we take a look at our problem and we do the same steps that we did before. We estimate. Now, what I usually do is cover up the 2, the last number in my divisor, and the last number in my dividend as I'm dividing, and I say 9 divided by 4. What times 4 would get me close to 9? And I know that that's 2. So I get rid of my lines there. You might try covering up with your pencil or your finger. And I'm going to try a 2 here. Let's multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. We subtract as always. 6 minus 4 is 2. 9 minus 8 is 1. We compare. 12 is smaller than 42, so we can bring down. We bring down our 6. And again, I would cover up my 2 and 42, and I would cover up the 6 and 126. That leaves me 12 divided by 4. This is how I estimate. 12 divided by 4 would be 3. Let's try that. And let's multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. I subtract. I get 0. I compare. It's smaller. There's nothing left to bring down. I'm done. And now we can check our division problem the same way we checked when we had a one-digit divisor. We multiply the quotient times the divisor. We start with multiplying in our ones house. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. I'm done with the 2. Put a 0 in my partial product. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry my 1. Remember to add it. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Now I add my partial products. 6 plus 0 is 6. 4 plus 2 is 6. Nothing plus 9 is 9. My answer, when I check, is the same as my dividend. I've done my problem correctly. Let's do some practice. Remember the 5 steps of division. I'm going to write them down as we do them every time. If you don't need to do that, that's fine, but it does help keep you going in the right direction. Now again, let me remind you, we've got 2 digits in our divisor, so we're going to start by dividing the first 2 digits in our problem. 75 divided by 28. Now, because 28 is close to 30, instead of thinking 2 as I'm estimating, I'm going to think of 3. I'm going to put a little 3 here in parentheses. Now I would cover up my 8, I would cover up my 5, and I would say 7 divided by 3. What times 3 would get me close to 7 without going over? Well, I'm going to uncover my 8 and uncover my 5. That would have been a 3. Oh, that would have been a 2, I think. 2 times 3 would have been 6. So let's put a 2 here. And let's multiply. That was our estimating. Let's multiply and see how close we got. 2 times 8 is 16. Carry a 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 5 minus, we're going to subtract. 5 minus 6, I can't do that. I need to borrow from my 7. I'm going to make it a 6. Make the 5 a 15. 15 minus 6 is 9. 6 minus 5 is 1. That leaves us with 19. When we compare that, 19 is smaller than 28, so it worked out well. So now we can move on and bring down our 6. Again, we're going to cover up the 8 and cover up the 6, and we're going to say 19 divided by about 3 would be what? Well, let's say that might be about a 6 or a 7. Let's try the 7 and see what happens. We did our estimating. We're going to multiply. 7 times 8 is 56. I'm going to carry my 5 over here. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 5 is 19. and that works out pretty well. When we subtract, it comes out 0, so there's it's smaller and there's nothing left to bring down, and we finished this problem. Let's move on to another one that we're going to practice. And in case you want to check your work, it's a good thing to check it when you get done and just make sure that you've multiplied correctly and that you've divided correctly. Our next problem is 4,521 divided by 33. Again, we're going to start by dividing the 45 by 33. If we estimate, I think we can see pretty clearly that that's going to be a 1. Let's multiply. 1 times 33 is 33. We'll subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. 4 minus 3 is 1. We compare. 12 is smaller than 33. We can bring down our next 2. We now have 122 divided by 33. If we cover up this 3 and cover up this 2, we have 12 divided by 3. That would be about a 4. Let's give it a try and see what happens. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12 with 1 is 13. That's going to be too big. If this happens, what you need to do is just go back, erase, and try again. Sometimes when we estimate, it doesn't work out the way we think. So we start again. So we've estimated and a 4 didn't work. Let's back up to a 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 3 is 9. We're going to subtract. We did our multiplying. Let's subtract. 2 minus 9, I can't do that. I'm going to have to borrow. I make that 2 into a 1. This 2 into a 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. I have a 1 minus 9. I can't do that. I need to borrow from the 100. And now I make it 11 minus 9 is 2. Let's compare. 23 is smaller than 33, so now I can move on. I'm going to bring down my last number, the 1. And I'll have 231 divided by 33. Again, if I cover up the 1 and this problem, if I covered up that 1 and I covered up the 3, I would have 23 divided by 3. That would be pretty close to 7. Let's try that. 7 times 3 is 21. 2 to carry there. 7 times 3 is 21 plus 2 is 23. The answer is the same, and I've got a 0. One more problem to go through. 56 divided by 1,288. Now this one's just a little bit different. Let's do our estimating, but when we start, I can't divide just the 12. It's going to be too small, so I'm going to divide the whole 128. Again, as I estimate, I'm going to cover up my 6 and cover up the 8, the last number that I'm dividing here, and that leaves me with 12 divided by 5. That would be about a 2, so let's give that a try. We'll put the 2 above the 8 where we're dividing. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. That was our multiply. Let's subtract. 8 minus 2 is 6. 2 minus 1 is 1. 16 compares well with 56, so we can bring down our 8. Again, if I cover up the 6 and I cover up the 8, that leaves me 16 divided by 5. That would be a 3. Let's multiply now. 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1. That's 16. We get a 0. It compares fine. There's nothing left to bring down, and we've finished. Remember, go through your steps. The estimating is very important as you do each step, and that concludes this lesson.